Hi there. This is the second vlog post that I'm making for the my reflective journal for the Digital Literacy Practitioner Level 3 qualification with Adult Learning Wales. Um, so it's been a while since I last posted anything. There's been a good bit of water gone under the bridge since then. I'm going to talk about the session that I delivered in Llantrisant in South Wales last week. Some of the things that went really well, some of the things that didn't necessarily go so well, and the changes that I'm going to make before the session that I'm delivering on Friday of this week in Aberystwyth, which is the same course. I'm going to talk about the second session of the DLP course and what I did after that. And I'm going to talk about yesterday's third session of the DLP course and reflect more generally on my contribution to the course and those sessions. In terms of my own practice, I've been on holiday since the last time that I made a vlog post. But when I came back, I delivered a session for Adult Learning Wales workplace and trade union team down in Llantrisant in the Royal Glamorgan Hospital on a course organised and funded by the Unison Connecting Learners in South East Wales Wolf Project. I've had a long-standing relationship with, and I've delivered that course before for them in Newport. So the course was combating cyber violence and online bullying. It's a course that I designed as part of my assessor's qualification last year and was piloted originally as part of Unison's participation in International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women last November. And then I rolled it out and delivered the session to, I think, up to, over 80 people between November 16 and March 17. So it was really successful and formed part of the award-winning initiative with Ceredigion County Council as well. So I was invited by Connecting Learners to come down again and work with the staff at the hospital. It's a course that I'm really used to delivering. It uses Open Badge Academy as the digital workbook, and I'll post a link to the badge below this post. So it was quite innovative in that it's comprehensively digital, but in terms of the way that the evidence is gathered. And obviously, digital literacy is a theme that runs all the way through it. The digital responsibility theme is explicit, with the theme being and the unit being understanding cyberbullying. So, although there was a slight gap between my last delivery in March and the delivery in November, things have changed. I've learned more about the subject, and so I did amend my presentation in particular to reflect current events, introducing elements on trolling, on Twitter, an incident of kind of body shaming on Twitter that I was quite intimately involved with because my friend was one of the people who was at the centre of that. And also moved some of the content from later in the session that I'd never really come to in my previous delivery. Moved that into the start of the session and had a more of a lecture style at the beginning of the session, which seemed to work really well. So the session uses the Open Badge Academy app on iPad, so each learner has an iPad with that app preloaded onto it. They go through the sign-up process, which is really interesting. People are creating usernames and passwords, so it gives an opportunity to talk about password security, usernames, etc., and how to sign up to things on an app. It's an experience that they get embedded within the course. It's not explicit. So I take them through that. We then have a session where I introduce the concept. But what I built all the way through the course is the use of pens and paper as the major means that people would work with, the iPad and the app being a means of capturing evidence more often than not. Now, the one task that does involve the active use of the iPad in that session is one that is a discovery learning task where I ask the learners to log onto the internet, to open their browser, and to find good sources of information, help and support for people who are victims of cyberbullying. And the task there is that because the criteria is to describe 3 different sources of help and support. So I have in previous sessions asked them to fill in I give each group a link to a Google form, so each member of the group can access that Google form. So they're collaborating on producing like a list and description of different tools that and sources of information that are out there on the internet that may help with the issue. Now, in order for this to work, my experience has shown that you need that Google Docs aren't editable on an iPad unless you use Google Chrome and or have the Google Drive app installed with an account, a Gmail or a Google account logged into that app. So in previous deliveries, I have made sure that all of the iPads that I was using have those apps on them, and that they're actually logged into generic Gmail addresses. I have a series of generic Gmail addresses that I create as part of the DigiSkills Cymru project to aid with the delivery, and also so that people weren't compromising their own personal information. What happened in this session was that didn't work. I only got the iPads late-ish on the evening before the course, after I'd travelled down from North Wales. I had to charge them and load the Open Badge Academy app onto them using the Adult Learning Wales MiFi connection while I was in my hotel room. That was difficult. Not all of them connected, and because it was working through 3G, it wasn't necessarily as quick as it will be. And I didn't get to the point before going to sleep of really reviewing exactly what was on each iPad. It turned out that they didn't have Google Drive and they didn't have Google Chrome browser installed on them. And I really only discovered this when we got to the stage of the course in the afternoon where we were doing this discovery learning task around sources of help and support. So the action that I took was to very quickly create a PDF from the shared Google Doc that I had on Google Drive. I created that PDF and sent it to the training administrator in the hospital who'd helped me to set up the room, and she really quickly printed out some paper copies for the staff who were on the course to use. That worked well as a substitute. The major way that I asked the learners to take part in the course and to be assessed is by writing things down on post-it notes, on posters, and then taking photographs of them with their iPad and uploading that directly on as evidence to their digital workbook on the online Open Badge Academy app. And so we just replicated that. So they took a picture of the paper version of this worksheet. Now that took away the collaborative element from that exercise, which wasn't core to their achievement, but was one of the embedded things that I always planned to be in that session. So that was a disappointment. I'm going to teach this course again on Friday at Ceredigion Council again, and hopefully, I expect that the iPads that I'm using there are ones that I've used before, and I've had all the apps that I've needed installed on them previously from when I delivered earlier in the year. So I'm anticipating that that's going to be okay, but I'm going to make sure I double check that next time. So moving on to look at the second session of the Digital Literacy Practitioner Qual, I really attended the course. I got there, but my son wasn't very well, and I received a phone call from the school after about an hour and a half of the session, and so I had to go and pick him up. So I missed that session. I did try later on in the day to participate from home. So I followed the tutor's presentation and added things to the Padlet task that was asked, and I also did some of the tasks that I could clearly see from the presentation that were going to be done on the day, particularly selecting the learners from the pool of learners who then I would invite to come on an entry-level digital literacy session. So I tried to keep it up as best as possible. I did seem to lose track of exactly where the course was up to, and maybe where I was up to as well. So after the session through the Moodle, I saw that I had task 4 to do, which was about diversity and inclusion, and I did that, and I also did the session plan, the first session plan for the entry-level digital skills. The way that I chose to do those, I think, kind of reflects my overall approach to the course, which is I'm trying to produce things that are going to be useful for me, either in my practice with Adult Learning Wales or through my business, because I'm a 0 hours with Adult Learning Wales, and I'm a freelance trainer and learning technologist as well. So I try to push myself with it. So I created a full session with resources and assessment methods, Open Badge Academy being the assessment method, for the first session plan. And for task 4, for the diversity and inclusion task, I wrote a guide in the form of an ebook, which is a guide for new tutors, people who are new to the area. I'm going to talk a little bit in a moment about that fact that I've been working in this sector for quite a long time, and the different experience I think that I'm having on the course because of that. So just at this point, I'm just going to move myself through to the bedroom, so I make sure that I am going to be able to complete this vlog in one go. You get a little tour of my house. So it might be a little dark, but hopefully you can still hear me and will not be disturbed. So my reflection on yesterday, which was session 3 of the DLP qualification. My overall reflection on my performance yesterday was that I'm really keen to share my knowledge of the subject and my experience teaching digitally for a decade and a half or more now, since I started teaching in higher education, using Blackboard, virtual learning environments, challenging my students to do online strategy games because I was teaching political science and comparative political systems. I've been involved in developing the digital literacy agenda within Wales. I was the chair of the Learning Technology Forum for a year, and I was on the steering group for 3 years before that was disbanded. I've been involved in European Union learning projects. I led an 8-partner pan-European project looking at the use of social media in adult learning in different contexts. I've been an advisor on another Adult Learning Wales involvement in the EDGE project in digital literacy. So I'm pretty much embedded in this whole agenda in Wales. My purpose for being on the course, the reason I'm on the course, is because although I have all of this experience, I don't have any qualifications in the area. So my aim is to formalise my skills, to get more structure around how I work, and also to learn new things, because I'm learning new tools every day. I learned MindMap yesterday. It's fantastic. Mind mapping tool that I'm definitely going to use in my practice from now on, and that was a really good thing to learn yesterday. But I'm also really keen to share my knowledge, as I said. The upskilling of adult learning tutors and the workforce in general has been a passion of mine for a long time. So I'm really keen to share wherever I can and give advice based on my own experience, which is kind of how I wrote the Task 4 guide as well. However, I've been reflecting since yesterday, and I do feel that there's a risk that I may be dominating the sessions in some way, because of my desire to share those skills and experience. I hope that kind of my being really vocal has enriched the sessions. That's what I'm trying to do. But I'm going to be more mindful in future sessions to allow other learners to have their voices heard more than myself, because I do recognise that I have a lot of this skills and experience, and every minute that I'm talking is a minute that maybe someone else isn't talking and isn't able to explain what they're thinking and feeling or their perspective on things. So I'm going to give a lot of thought before the next session. I'll not be quiet, but I think I'm going to be mindful of not dominating a session in future. So what's next? I need to improve my my session before Friday, the Combating Cyber Violence course. I'm also in the middle of writing through my own business a digital literacy course for cognitive behavioural psychotherapists, which I'm developing with a CBT therapist local here, Keith Ferns, and that's around the use of online video and other online tools to allow independent CBT practitioners to connect with a bigger range of people and deliver therapy online. So that's a session that I started planning in detail today, and hopefully we will be piloting that in the coming months. Struggling to book in with Sarah and Joy, the tutors on the course, my observation, and that's mainly because I don't have so many opportunities in North Wales to deliver in the coming months, because I'm part-time tutor and I'm developing my own business. But hopefully there'll be more opportunities, and we will get those observations done by the end of the course. So yeah, I'll post relevant links below this video, and thanks for listening. Diolch yn fawr iawn, and hopefully see you all next time. Bye.